Gotta start training now. I think I can beat that.
That's insane. Like, I hope I'm dead before that. Like, honestly.
I hope that is literally the last thing I ever do.
Is you running in 17.7 seconds.
Yep.
That was crazy. Yeah, I can't believe that. That's insane. Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports podcast in the world. This is episode 7 of Swivel Chair Sports. I am your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, with my co-hosts today, Aaron and Siege. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
I don't want to say hi.
Well, you kind of did, but...
You say to say hi every week, and I love it, Berg.
Well, you know what? I like to get you guys involved. So let's move on. Before we get started, I would just like to remind anybody watching to please like and subscribe. Trying to go from 10 subscribers to 11 subscribers, so it would be much appreciated. But going into today's episode, most of today is going to be, actually I think all of today is going to be exclusively talking about NFL. Start with the playoffs, see if we burn all of our time talking about that, and if not, then we'll talk a little off-season stuff. But for now, let's go ahead and start with what happened this past weekend in the first round of the NFL playoffs. In a variety of our 2-minute warning this week, we'll do a 30-second warning. I hit the wrong button. 30-second warning because there are only 8 teams left. 8 divided by 32 is a quarter. And a quarter of 2 minutes is 30 seconds. So there you go. But let me go ahead and get the timer ready. I forgot we were doing this honestly until right now. Pop it out. Alright. And share screen. Hey, look at that. Alright, and 30 seconds counting and go. So, first game of the weekend was the 49ers versus the Seahawks. 49ers came out in the second half and stomped the Seahawks 41-23 was the final. Jaguars come back on the Chargers, beat them 31-30. Bills survive a close one with the Dolphins 34-31. The Giants beat the Vikings 31-24. Bengals beat the Ravens, outlast them 24-17, and finally the Cowboys stomped the Bucs 31-14. And look at that, I was just able to get it done right in time. So, whoops. Now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and go in more in depth with these playoff games. Obviously, being a big week in the NFL first round of the 2023 playoffs. We'll start with the 49ers-Seahawks game. San Francisco hosted Seattle for the first game of the playoffs on Saturday. First half was really close between the two teams. I believe Seattle actually went to halftime up by 1. Yeah. Seattle went to halftime up by 1 point. Looked like it was going to be a good game the rest of the way through. And then really once the second half started, San Francisco took the wheel and didn't look back. They ended up scoring, I think it was 25 straight points before Seattle finally put up 6 at the end to make it a little less embarrassing. But San Francisco just came out the second half, showed that they were the better team than Seattle, like we all knew. After a little bit of a scare there in the first half, they were able to flex a little bit and show their might in the second. So start with you, Aaron. What did you think of San Francisco's ability to just absolutely run away with it in the second half this past week against Seattle?
I mean, they look good. Obviously, their defense kind of did what they normally do in the second half and did a good job containing the Seahawks offense. The 49ers, they're kind of rolling with Purdy.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit better than I was expecting. I'm still not quite sold on him because he hasn't had like a true defensive test yet, but they're pretty stacked on offense, and it'll be exciting to see if they can keep that momentum going next round.
Yeah, Siege, what did you think? I don't know. Were you able to watch most of the game on Saturday between the Niners and
Yeah.
Seahawks?
I
Okay.
watched most of the games. I agree with Aaron. I think the Niners are rolling with Purdy, um, and kind of seeing what his teammates had to say about him through various social media outlets, like on Twitter, saying that he's a leader, and just or seeing his work ethic through those videos of his teammates talking about him. I think they have a good thing rolling up there in San Francisco, and this next round, I don't know if they'll necessarily be. I mean, the Cowboys looked great as well against the Bucks, but I'm excited to watch those two teams play this week with Purdy at the home.
Yeah, I'm expecting the two best games this coming weekend to probably be the Niners Dallas game and then the Bengals Bills game. But I mean, I do have some hope for the Giants coming. Just a little teaser for a little later on in the episode. Um, but yeah, as far as the Niners game goes, I mean, it's funny. I was actually at the casino when the game was going on. Met there for my fantasy football league end of the year party where I got this lovely trophy because I won this year because I'm amazing and I know football and I'm a genius. So I was at the casino celebrating the end of the season with the boys, and we were watching the game at the Barstool Sportsbook. Put a couple bets in, trying to see if I could win a little moolah. And originally, I assumed Seattle was going to keep it close, so I went ahead and took Seattle spread. I think it was a plus 9.5. I figured it was going to be less than a 10-point win for the Niners, but it was going to be dominant. But I didn't think it was going to be a blowout like to this extent. And then about, I don't know, halfway through the second quarter, I get up and I go to like the little monitor to make another bet. I was planning at this point the Niners were still up, I think 14 to 7. But Seattle did have the ball marching down the field, and it looked like they were about to score. So what I did was I got up, went over to the monitor, and tried to hedge my bet a little bit. Um, I intended to I intended to click on Niners money line. Actually clicked on Seattle's money line. So turns out I was rooting for Seattle now.
Big time gambler.
And yeah. Not used to it. And so I get my ticket thinking it's Seattle or thinking it's San Francisco money line. I didn't even look at it. I just assumed it was good. Put it in my pocket. And literally, as soon as I hit bet on what I thought was San Francisco money line, as soon as I hit bet, DK Metcalf scored the second touchdown to tie the game up. So I was like, "Oh, sick! Okay, so it's probably like the odds probably went down for San Francisco to win the game right after that. It's a great time to go ahead and try to hedge." And as soon as I went and sat down, I told my friends that that's what I did. Went to go hedge my bets by betting on San Francisco. And then they were asking me how much I got on it, and I was like, dude, I think it was like plus 400. And they were like, what? How is it plus 400? They were like scheduled to win before. And so I pulled out my ticket. Turns out I put Seattle on accident. And so I went into the second half like gearing for go Hawks, baby, like cawing, like go Hawks. And then they came out flat and ended up getting their asses kicked. So that was a little disappointing. But it was a good game in the first half. San Francisco looks like the strongest team in the NFC, in my opinion. I still have them coming out to face the AFC champion, whoever that ends up being. But yeah, Seattle looked great in the second half. They really showed that they were the better team. And I mean, not really much more to talk about it than that. But I guess we could. What we could talk about is what do you think this means for Seattle going forward? Obviously, they traded Russell Wilson this year, and not expecting to make the playoffs. I'm sure with Geno Smith starting, somehow lucked into that. They still have the Broncos picks, and then obviously they're kind of like fast tracking a rebuild. So, what do you think, Aaron? Do you think Seattle could maybe be a contender with the next 5 years, or what do you think the timeline is with them?
It's tough because they're not really in a a good spot to get a good quarterback. Obviously,
Well, don't they have Denver's first round pick?
I guess they do. Um, but I mean, they obviously didn't believe in Drew Lock, so they went with Geno Smith over him.
Yeah, that's a little disappointing for our guy.
So I don't know. They're not in a good spot defensively. They've got a lot of gaps to fill there. Um, and then Tyler Lockett's not getting any younger, although he did kind of have a decent season this year. So they've got a good young running back, but they have some holes to fill on offense and defense. Um, that's not to say that they won't be a good team the next 5 years, but I don't see them really contending for a title.
Yeah, so actually, I just looked it up. They do have Denver's first round pick this year. It's the 5th overall, so they could easily jump up and get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. It'd be really interesting to keep your eye on and maybe see what they end up doing. Bryce Young, right? I didn't get that wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. For some reason that sounded wrong. But what do you think, Siege? I don't know if you know much about their potential prospects going forward, but do you have anything to add to what Aaron said?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking the same thing about Tyler Lockett. He's not getting any younger. And
Yeah.
then, I think they could use another receiver to kind of pair with DK and make him more of a two-headed monster at the receiver position. But I mean, Tyler Lockett has had a great career. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
there's no doubting that. But like Aaron said, he's not getting any younger. It'd be kind of cool to see another young guy in there to help DK
Yeah.
out a little bit more.
Yeah, I didn't realize they had the 5th overall pick till just now. Like you two probably didn't, and like I mean they could use them, the Colts, they both have, and the Lions even, those three teams, the 4, 5, 6 picks, because the Lions have the number 6 thanks to the Rams being so bad. Those three teams are three you want to look out for, maybe jumping up there and taking that Bears pick. If they're willing to trade enough stuff to get it, because the Bears obviously they don't need a quarterback necessarily with the way Justin Fields is improving. So those would be my three teams to look out for, maybe trying to jump up to that number 1 pick going into the draft. But go ahead.
How many first round picks does Seattle have?
I think they just have their 2. I think just theirs, and then
Okay.
Denver's.
Where's their second pick? Their actual pick, not
Their
Denver's.
their pick is the 20th, so they have the 5th and the 20th.
Okay,
So-
I could see them going after
Maybe
some sort.
packaging those two, but the Lions also have 6, and then they have their own at 18. So the Lions
Yeah.
could easily package those two and try to jump up to 1. It's going to be interesting to see which team decides to do that.
Yeah.
But I guess we can move on to the next game. The second game of the Saturday night, last one that night. Jaguars overcome a 27-point deficit to beat Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Brandon Staley sucks in the crunch time again. Not the first nor the last time we have seen this dude fumble the bag at the end of games. Like a 27-point lead to give that up is just absurd. It's like unheard of outside of 2 or 3 times in the NFL, especially in the playoffs. I mean, that is just crazy. Obviously led by Trevor Lawrence, who threw 4 interceptions in the first half, came right out in the second half, threw 4 straight touchdowns, and then ended up driving the Jags down the field again on that fifth drive to set up the field goal to win it. But oh my goodness, so do you think this was like, for Trevor Lawrence, was it a good game? Was it a bad game? Was it how do you categorize this game? Aaron, I'll start with you. Like, Trevor Lawrence was like two different people in this game. It's crazy to see what the transformation from the first half to the second half. What are your thoughts?
I mean, any game you win is a good game. Sure, there are things you can improve on, but they made it to the next round. That's what's most important.
Yeah.
He looked a little bit flustered. He was making some bad decisions in the first half, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And then he came out in the second half, looked like he settled down a bit. He's a tough quarterback to judge because he seems to like he likes to take the risky throws and fit it into tight windows, and he's got the arm talent to do it. It's just sometimes it'll bite him in the ass.
Yeah, I mean that's how Mahomes started off too. Mahomes always went for that tight window, that big play, and he's definitely matured over the years with that. Now when he does it, I get pissed because I know he's better than that. But the first couple of years, it was like one of those things where you could live with because he's going to get over that. And when he does, he's going to be Aaron Rodgers-esque, where he's able to put up the same stats, but twice the efficiency. So I'm not too worried about it. I think he's gonna end up being one of the premier quarterbacks in the league here going forward. But what do you think, Siege? Being more of a college guy, and then watching Trevor Lawrence make that transition from being the best college player in the country, bar none, to now he's won his first playoff game in only his second year. Do you think this kind of validates that number one overall pick and all the hype that was coming, that he had coming out of college?
I think it does. Just kind of looking at what he has around him. I mean, the Jags aren't typically known for being a great team, and he's been able to bring them to the playoffs and win a wild card round. I mean, they advanced. He's never lost on a Saturday. Fun fact.
Till now. Till this weekend. Till this weekend, I promise.
Okay. But I think it's funny that you guys brought up him being risky with his throws and stuff. He made another risky play by going to Waffle House at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, I know. He could have got shot, bro. Oh my gosh. What a bold strategy. But what a dog at the same time.
Yeah, I like it. I like what I see out of him. He's taken what he did in college and brought it to the NFL and hasn't really changed who he is as a quarterback. I think there was definitely jitters in the first half. That's why you saw him throw all those picks, but settled down the second half and took care of business.
Yeah, it was nice to see that he kind of started off seeming like the lights were a little too bright for him, but it was cool to see someone who was able to, because as a former athlete, that happens. It's not unless you're like cold blooded, like it happens to the best of us. Like I remember going out there. Well, I'm not talking like his first time though. You think he did that his first time, like starting at Ohio State or wherever? Because I remember.
Ohio State.
What? He never played a game at Ohio State?
No, he got beat out twice, didn't he, Siege?
But he never played a single game.
No.
Really? Not a single snap.
Who are we talking about right
Joe
now?
Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
No, he never played.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I just remember when I went out there for my first appearance in college, I had shit running down my leg. My legs were shaking. I was so fucking terrified. So I'm not surprised.
I wasn't comfortable on the mound in college until I gave up my first bomb.
Yeah, like
I was like, oh, okay, I'm good.
I was shook when I went out there for the first time. So I can't imagine what Trevor Lawrence was feeling like going out there for his first NFL playoff game. On the road, or no, it was at home. Yeah, it was at home. I forgot. They won their division. They had the worst record, but they won their division, which I think that's stupid. Little hot take here right now. I think the better record team should always host. I think it's stupid that just because the Jags played in a bad playoff game that they got to host. Not that it matters, because any Chargers game is a home playoff game for the away team anyways. So it wouldn't have really mattered, but it. Just a side tangent. But what do you think about Brandon Staley's future with San Diego, or not San Diego, L.A.? What do you think about Brandon Staley's future with the Chargers going forward? Obviously, this isn't the first time something like this has happened to him, and this is something that could easily cost a head coach's job.
I think he's fine. They're a good team. I mean, there are plenty of good coaches that have blown big leads. It's not like it's a.
Yeah,
It happens.
yeah, yeah.
But
O'Brien was great.
but yeah, I mean, it's not like they took a step backwards from last year. I think
They
you at
basically
least
stayed the
give him
same.
another year,
Yeah.
and see if anything's different next year. Um, I mean, I think overall they took a step forward this year. The record was about the same, but they had a lot of injuries. Keenan Allen was out for like half the
They
season.
did, yeah. No, you're right.
I think he was better this year on his fourth down calls, when to go for it, the field of the game.
Sure.
So yeah, I think he's fine. I don't think he should be fired, and give him at least one more year.
I think if they don't win a playoff game next year, he should get fired. Because they should have won it this year. Like if he would have won, so basically, he needed to win a playoff game in his first 3 years. You have a generational, well, I mean, with the crop of talent we have right now, he's not not technically a generational talent at the quarterback position, but you know what I mean. He's a top 5 quarterback on your team, and you can't win a single playoff game. And clearly, one of the like at least this loss was on you. I don't know. I just think
I would say that this loss is on the offense, not necessarily on Herbert. Yeah, he missed a couple throws in the second half, but overall the play calling
Not
was way
Herbert.
too timid.
Not Herbert, but Staley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm blaming
Yeah,
Staley.
yeah. I mean, it's a learning experience.
Yeah, for both.
Well, that's
They're
all
both
you can
good.
really say.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll move on from that game. Start with our first game on Saturday. Bills Dolphins ended up being a way better game than any of us anticipated. 34-31, the Bills barely squeak it out. Dolphins, honestly, the only reason they lost this game is because their clock management was abysmal in that second half. The fourth quarter alone, I think I saw 4 delay of game / timeouts to avoid delay of game occurrence. Like it was insane. 4 straight drives of that crap. Like, I don't know what the heck was going on, but someone was not paying attention that game. And I have to believe that if Tua starts, they probably beat the Bills. What do you think, Aaron?
Oh, I think it's a completely different game. I mean, they're obviously Tua's the starter and he's better, but I think it ends up being a completely different game. Different mindset for the Bills going in, knowing that Tua's starting rather than Skylar Thompson.
So you think they prepare better? You think they maybe took?
I think they're a little more on edge. I think they prepared as well as they could. I think they're a little more on edge.
Yeah.
Expecting them to be a little bit more competitive.
Right.
But I mean, I think overall you saw some of the old flashes of Josh Allen kind of being a little careless with the ball. He had a few turnovers.
3. Actually, 5 turnovers.
Won,
I think
so.
3 picks. But yeah, I mean, I kind of see your point with them maybe taking them a little bit more seriously if Tua's starting. But what do you think, Siege? Do you think Tua starting that game completely? Like, do you think the Dolphins just win that game if Tua starts?
Yes and no. Skylar Thompson's numbers weren't great.
No, they were terrible, actually.
Then whenever you look at it, I don't even think they had 50 yards rushing, the Dolphins.
Let me check.
So if you can't, well, I'm looking at it right now, and it's not up to 50.
Oh. So I never even noticed that.
I mean, if you can't run the ball, the only thing you can do is put the ball in the quarterback's hand and have him huck it all over the field. And that's what they had to do because they couldn't run the ball.
Yeah. Which props to him. He's a Kansas City guy. He did his best.
Right.
So I like
but the thing is, like, especially with a guy that he hasn't started a game all year, has he?
Skylar? No, he started the last game of the season, yeah.
Okay. But, I mean, yeah, he gets 1 game under his belt, and then he has to go play against the Bills, who people argue is one of the best teams right now. I mean, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking, but I really don't think he played terrible. I think some of the play calling could have been better. I just don't think they were necessarily ready for Skylar to be the guy in a big moment like this. And so the play calling just didn't get down there in time because they had to completely change their whole offense because Tua wasn't the quarterback. So I'm thinking that could have been some of the clock management issues that you saw late in the game. But yeah, they really just couldn't run the ball. I think the Dolphins defense did well. I don't think they played terrible. So yeah, I mean they just couldn't run the ball. So I think that's one of the issues.
No, yeah, I didn't even realize they had such bad running game. This contest, it looks like 30. They had like 42 rushing yards as a team, so that's pretty bad. And you're right. If you don't win the trenches, you're not going to win many games. I don't know how the heck it was a 34 to 31 game if the Bills only had a total, like they didn't even have 300. Yeah. No, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't even have 300 total yards of offense. So I don't know how they scored 31 in the first place.
But the Bills turned it over on their side of the field, and then the Dolphins just realized.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Allen had two picks, and then I think he had at least a fumble or two as well.
There was a scoop and score too, right?
Was there a scoop and score? Yeah, so that would explain it. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I see your point, Aaron, because I do agree that I think the Bills would have prepared a little bit better, or at least taken them a little bit more seriously had Tua started, or even Teddy Bridgewater. But because it was their third string rookie 7th round pick out of K-State, born in somewhere Missouri, raised in Independence, Missouri, who we played in high school basketball when he went to high school at Fort Osage, Skylar Thompson. Yeah, we played him in basketball, so that was a cool little revelation I had. But
yes.
But yeah, you probably don't prepare, or maybe you prepare the same, but you don't take the team as seriously. So I do see your point, but at the same time, it's hard to not think that because that's what we do as sports fans is we just think, oh well, you just plug this guy in there, they clearly win. It's hard to not think that Tua wouldn't have won them that game, but who knows? I guess we can. We can go to the next game. Giants Vikings. Danny Dimes coming through for the squad, ending the boat curse for the New York Giants, and beating a Kirk Cousins-led Vikings team that shouldn't have honestly made the playoffs because they had like 11 wins that were, I don't know. There's like a statistic out there that like determines luck, and the Vikings wouldn't have made the playoffs if luck wasn't involved. So the Vikings were lucky to be there, even though they were the 3 seed. But what do you think, Aaron? Do you think this speaks more for the Vikings being overrated, or did the Giants just come in there and take care of business?
Business. I mean, it was a good game. It's not like either team necessarily played bad, The Giants defense came out and got stops when it mattered. I don't know what Kirk was kind of thinking on that last 4th down play, throwing it so short with the defender right there. But yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones, got to give him his credit. He came out and he showed up and he won the game.
Yeah. I mean, Danny Dimes going out there, kicking ass, taking names. Let's see here. He had 301 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. On top of that, may I add, 78 rushing yards. He was truly the focal point of that offense. He had dimes in his eyes. Danny Dimes, baby. Danny Dimes rules. Danny Dimes.
Against one of the worst defenses in the playoffs.
That's fine. I still had him on my Mutt squad, and y'all made fun of me for it.
Hey. Danny Dimes is looking fine these days. That's all I'm saying. I think he's kind of justifying the pick that they spent on him a little bit. Maybe he's the next Eli Manning. Maybe he beats the Eagles in this next
Don't
round.
bring Eli down like that.
Maybe Daniel Jones goes out there. You see, as a wild card, as a 6th seed, like Eli did back in the day. He goes out there, he marches that team down to the playoffs, he meets the number 1 team in the AFC, the Big Kahunas, the Kansas City Chiefs, goes out there, ends up throwing up a pass to some random guy, probably the Richie James, I don't know, one of those no-name dudes that ended up being super important late down the stretch, ends up throwing a pass up to that dude goes up, catches that shit like this, on his head, helmet, I don't know, maybe gets the team down into the red zone, you know what I'm saying? And then that team ends up scoring, Giants end up winning the Super Bowl and beating the Big Kahunas. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's got to happen twice.
Well, I mean, it's something with that white quarterback up in I guess technically New Jersey, because that's where they play for the Giants, that just somehow, they come through, they're the underdog, and they just end up kicking ass when it comes to it. But what do you think, Siege? Do you think this is enough to save Daniel Jones' job down the line? Is he the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants now?
I mean, I don't see why you would change anything. He showed that he can perform in the playoffs. So I don't think there needs to be a change necessarily. I mean, the dude's got 78 rushing yards as well as 300 passing yards and two tutties in a playoff game. I mean, I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah, what do you think, Aaron? What do you think? Do you think this is enough for you to eat your words from your Daniel Jones hate throughout the years?
Absolutely not. It's one game. Yeah, they've done all right this season, but I mean, arguably, any other season they might not make the playoff. So, I personally haven't seen enough from him to make him a franchise guy. Does that mean they need to replace him right away? No. But if you have an opportunity to get a guy, I think you got to go for it.
All right, well, I think Daniel Jones is the guy, and I just don't think you want to admit it. But moving on from that, we'll go on to the next
Going
game.
from the guy who thought Alex Smith was the guy.
You hated Alex Smith. I know you did.
I didn't hate Alex Smith.
You did.
I just said he would never win us the Super Bowl.
Well, he never got the chance.
That's his fault.
It's not his fault. He's a GOAT. He's a legend. He's the reason Mahomes is as good as he is today.
You're right. We didn't lose
Him-
the playoff game
him
to the
and him
Steelers
alone.
because we lost a game to the Steelers
Not because of
without giving
him.
up a touchdown.
Eric Fisher did that.
I'm just saying.
That was very loud.
Eric Fisher held on a 2-point conversion that we made. But moving on to the last game of the weekend, or not the weekend, because they played a game on Monday for some stupid reason. Bengals Ravens. Bengals come out, win 24-17 in a much closer way. Was that the last game?
No, we still got Cowboys Bucks.
Well, was that the Sunday night game? I mean.
Ravens Bengals was the Sunday night game.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Bengals end up winning 24-17. Ravens made it way closer than I think most of us anticipated. Kind of like the Dolphins did down there with Skylar Thompson. Tyler Huntley comes out there, had the Ravens in position to win the game. Well, there were a lot of time left when this happened, but it would have put them in position to take the lead. They would have taken the lead with I think 10 minutes left or something like that. Tyler Huntley goes for the touchdown by jumping over the pile, sticks the ball out, fumbles it on the goal line. Bengals house call to take the lead that they don't give up the rest of the way. I think that was the game-winning touchdown, actually, was that scoop and score. So just an absolute heartbreaker for Ravens fans. They could see the win right there, and they just lost it right on the goal line. So tough pill to swallow for Ravens fans.
They also had a chance to tie the game on the Hail Mary. They almost caught
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was that game where the Hail Mary. Yeah, they threw up a Hail Mary at the end of the game with no time left. Obviously, gets batted down by a defender, and one of the receiver that was not intended for dives and just misses it off his fingertips. Was maybe a foot away from tying the game and sending it into overtime for the Ravens. So really, really tough pill to swallow for Baltimore. But I think the big question on everybody's mind up there is what the heck's going on with Lamar Jackson? Does he stay or does he go? Because he didn't show up for the playoff game at all. Ended up sitting it out at home. Obviously, he still hasn't signed an extension or anything for Baltimore. Do you think if he gets franchise tagged, he maybe skips out on training camp and possibly even requests a trade?
I don't know. It's tough to say because he doesn't really talk much. I mean, other than him saying he wasn't going to negotiate his contract during the season.
Right.
I don't think him staying home necessarily means anything bad. I mean,
it's interesting.
Would you want to go out in the cold with a bum knee?
It's a little suspect. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't have any insider information.
It's just, I don't know.
I don't think he leaves. I think he likes the city. I think he likes the staff there and the offense that they've got going. Obviously, he was a little frustrated them trading away Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
so they need to get some more weapons. But I don't really.
Speaking of which, Mark Andrews made an amazing catch down the stretch to even give the Baltimore Ravens a chance to win. But go on.
I mean,
it was beautiful. Oh, it was gorgeous.
But yeah, I mean, I think they've got a good situation going there. I don't think you necessarily want to risk that leaving.
By the way, if anybody's wondering, that's not a picture of Aaron.
Yeah, it is.
I assure you it's not. But I don't know why that came to mind, but it did. But what do you think, Siege? Do you think Lamar may be leaving, or do you think it's nothing like Aaron does? Shut up, Aaron.
I really don't have much input. I don't think he would leave necessarily. I feel like Baltimore's where he's valued the most. I think he sees the value in staying in Baltimore. I don't think. I mean, especially with. I mean, he hasn't. He came out hot right when he got into the league. People kind of started figuring out a little bit. I don't know necessarily. I mean, he's still a good quarterback, I guess you could say, but
yeah.
I don't know necessarily who would want to pick him up and like immediately plug him into their system. I mean, yeah, but would he go to the Jets? Would he want to go there? No, he wouldn't want to go there. If he has a choice, I think he'll stay. But let's not. I want to bring one other thing up. The only reason that the Ravens lost this game was because of the Harbaugh special. They both fumbled on the 1 yard line.
Ah, dang. Tough.
Both in the playoffs, fumbling on the 1. Love it.
You think wait, you're not thinking of Pete Carroll, are you?
What?
Michigan fumbled on the goal line like.
Oh, you're talking college. I'm sorry. I'm so lost. I'm sorry.
The brothers.
No, you're right. I didn't know what you were referencing. I didn't watch the Michigan game, so that's on me.
Crazy fact, Burke.
Yeah, that's what
Jim and John are related.
Fuck off. No shit.
They almost look the same too.
Yeah,
They do. They look
almost
very
like they're
similar.
brothers.
Yeah. But what do you think, as far as the Bengals go, do you think they have any shot at beating Buffalo next week?
Yeah, of course they do. I mean, they're good offense. I don't think their defense is as bad as it was last year. And Buffalo kind of showed that they were vulnerable this week. Granted, those those in division games are always tough.
Yeah.
You know, um, having played each other, this being the third time for
Right.
both.
That's why I'm kind of
Bills.
glad Jacksonville won. Low key.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bengals. I think the Bengals are gonna win. I think they're just better. I don't know. I don't know. I just like them more, if I'm being honest. Buffalo kind of annoys me at this point. They want to be us so bad, but they're not. Kind of like the Colts with the Patriots back in the day. So, but yeah, I think they definitely have a chance. Obviously, both teams are pretty even as far as talent goes. But yeah, I guess we can go on to our player of the week since we kind of wrapped up all the games and what happened from this past weekend.
Dallas and Tampa.
Crap. You're right. I forgot because one, I didn't watch it, and two, it was horrible because Dallas stomped them. But yeah, Dallas ends up beating the Bucks 31-14. This will probably be a pretty short little recap because other than pissing on Tom Brady's grave, career grave, not literal grave. There's really nothing else to talk about. But Dak Prescott did look amazing. Didn't throw any of his signature interceptions this game, so good for him. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Tom Brady going forward. Will he retire? Will he change teams? I guess we can start with that. What do you think, Siege? Is Tom Brady going to be playing next year somewhere? Will it be Tampa Bay? If not, where?
I'd lean towards he's going to be playing somewhere. The dude just threw for 351 yards against the Cowboys.
Yeah, we lost.
Yeah, he lost, but I don't think it matters, dude. I think he's still got it, and I think he's still wanting to play. I mean, he did get divorced over it, so I'm thinking he's gonna just keep playing until somebody tells him he can't. So I think if
The only
he's not with
thing-
Tampa Bay,
the
find
only-
somewhere else.
The only thing that would keep that man from playing football is if he couldn't kiss his son on the lips. But if there was a law implemented where he couldn't kiss his son on the lips, I guarantee he would quit football. But what do you think, Aaron? Where do you see him going next year?
I mean, kind of what Siege alluded to. I don't think he can afford to not play next year. I mean, he is getting divorced, and tough times in the economy. So I think he's got to play next year.
Yeah, I'm sure he's hurting for money.
If he can, if his arm doesn't fall off, because I mean, he threw the ball. He threw the ball 66 times.
I know. Yeah.
So if his arm doesn't fall off, he'll play next year. Where probably the Raiders.
You think the Raiders?
Yeah.
That would be so unfortunate. Russell, well, yes and no, because I'd love to beat up on an old man twice a year, but Tom Brady, the threat of a Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert as being the three quarterbacks we have to play twice a year, that's not fun. That's scary.
But you got Pat.
We do have Pat, and I have all the confidence in the world in Pat, but it's Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert still at the end of the day, like two of the GOATs and then one future GOAT. So, I don't know. It would scare me if he came in division. I'm not even going to lie. Although it would be fun to beat up on an old man twice a year. 46! He'd be 46!
I have a question
What?
real quick before we move on from this game.
Go ahead.
Do, does Brett Mayer still have a job?
Yeah, as of now, yes. Mike McCarthy said after the game he's gonna. I guess we can make that the next question. Yeah, does Brett Mayer still have a job? Yeah. Mike
We'll
McCarthy
see you
said
pick up. Maybe after you switch now.
it's a little hard. It's a little late now to switch kickers. I probably should have thought about that earlier. But
Yeah, but they can bring somebody from the stands to do that.
to go 1 for 5, I know. Golly, that was horrible. 4 straight is wild. Just go for 2 every time at that point. Like, seriously. If you're going to lose out on the points anyways, at least try to go for 2. But, yeah.
I saw a funny post. It was of Dak yelling, "Go for fucking 2!
Go for fucking 2!
And it was, I bet that kicker wasn't over throwing his helmet on the sideline when he was throwing all those picks.
That was all over the place today. I've seen that
All-time bad teammate moment right there.
Yeah, he apologized in his presser, so I give him credit for that. Because he is a dude. He's a good dude. Dak's a good dude. Not a good quarterback, but he's a good dude.
Overrated, but a good dude.
Yeah. He is the same as what Tony Romo was down there. It's insane. You're Dallas's quarterback, all of a sudden you're a god. But yeah.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything. Wink, wink.
Pause.
Pause.
Resume.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you think... I guess we'll get into this next anyways. We'll get into our playoff predictions, so I'll save that question for next. But let's start with our player of the week before we get to that. We'll do... Siege, do you have any players of the week?
No. Y'all go for it.
Okay. Well, me and Aaron, do you want to do our top 3 then, like we discussed?
I don't think we have a. I was saying I don't think we have a top 3. I think we have 3 to pick from in case someone else picks your guy.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I just unplugged my headphones, so give me 1 second.
What'd you say? I can't hear you. Unplugged your headphones.
Alright, I think I'm good. Can you say something real quick?
I'm giving up on you?
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, we'll go into our player of the week segment. I guess I'll let you start, Aaron, and then I'll come in hot.
My player of the week is Tom Brady. Purely for the fact that he saved us all of the pain and misery of watching him win another Super Bowl.
That's a good reason. I'll let you guess. What do you think my player of the week is?
Daniel Jones.
Hell yeah, Daniel Jones! Yeah, Daniel Jones is my player of the week. He absolutely crushed it for the New York Giants.
It's not like it's, written on your cup or anything.
Daniel Jones
Or the
rules.
fact that you have dimes on your...
Dimes! Yeah, shit. Daniel Jones,
I didn't even realize those dimes.
You didn't realize these were dimes? What'd you think they were?
Stars of light reflection.
That's hilarious. But yeah, no, Daniel Jones absolutely killed it. 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, along with the 78 rushing yards. He was the absolute focal point of that offense this past weekend. Literally every
Rare
play.
game.
Do what?
It was a rare game.
It's not. It's gonna be the what's the word?
New norm.
The normal going forward. Yeah. So absolutely killed it. I haven't beaten the Eagles this week. Fun fact. I can't wait to hear Aaron's opinion on that, but save it for now. We'll move on to our playoff predictions though. But I want the Eagles and Giants game to be towards the back for Aaron. I wanted to sit on that. I wanted to marinate. So let me go ahead and bring up the bracket for the NFL second round playoffs. Yada yada yada. Go live. Okay. So here we have the bracket as it stands right now. Jaguars, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Niners. So I guess we'll start with the Jaguars and Chiefs game. Um, I have the Chiefs winning this game. I just don't see any way the Trevor Lawrence can overcome the best team in the AFC, probably the NFL in my opinion, because I don't think the Eagles are that good. But yeah, I just don't see the Jaguars coming in and beating the Chiefs, even though Trevor Lawrence is undefeated on a Saturday. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is obviously the superior quarterback. The Chiefs are obviously the superior team. I just don't see any way, shape, or form the Jaguars can overcome that. What do you think, Aaron?
The Jaguars kind of remind me of the Bengals last year. Too young and dumb to know when to quit. They're a scrappy team.
Well, we lost to the Bengals last year. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, if we play like we did against the Bengals last year, we will lose. Hopefully, we learned our lesson from that and come out and take care of business. I do think the Chiefs win.
Yeah. What do you think, Siege?
Chiefs 31, Jaguars 24.
Hey, I like the score. Really, that close though.
Yep.
Interesting. Anything else to add?
Nope.
All right. Well, I like the scores though. That's fun. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it for every single one, so be ready.
That's dope. That's dope. Good. Good. I love it. I guess we'll move on to the Bengals Bills now. Bengals visiting Buffalo after they. There really could have been a chance that this was hosted at Cincinnati, but obviously, actually, wait, maybe not. I may be completely wrong on that. Who cares? Bengals are going to Buffalo. I don't think they've played each other in the playoffs since Joe Burrow's taken over. I may be wrong about that, but
No, because we played.
both.
Burrow got hurt his first year, and then we played the
played
Bengals
both.
in the championship.
Well, played both last year.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, this first time meeting between Joe Burrow and Josh Allen in the playoffs. It'll be super fun to see what happens there. Obviously, two of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, not just the AFC. But I do have Joe Burrow and the Bengals coming out victorious in this game. I think their previous matchup. Excuse me, jeez. I think their previous matchup, which wasn't that long ago, was leaning towards the Bengals' direction had that game continued. I realized it was just the first quarter when it got called, but something to me, I felt like the Bengals were going to win that game. So I honestly, I just think the Bengals are a little bit of a better team. Don't ask me why, because I don't really know. It's just a feeling. I may also just be a Bills hater in general, because I'm kind of sick of them trying to compare themselves to us. Because they can't even beat us in the playoffs when it matters. But that's beside the point. Actually, kind of not, because it's kind of my whole point. But I do have the Bengals winning this game. What do you think, Aaron?
I think Buffalo wins, actually. They both had close games last round. I think ultimately the Dolphins are better than the Ravens. So I think the Bills are a little bit more proven at this point. And I think they're just overall a slightly better team.
So you think even with the third string quarterback for Dolphins versus the second string quarterback for Ravens, you do think that the Dolphins were a better team than the Ravens?
Yes.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki.
Well, they're definitely a more explosive team, but I don't know if I'd consider them a better team because Ravens defense is obviously going to be better than the Dolphins defense.
I think that's arguable.
Maybe. Maybe not. But what do you think, Siege? Who do you think's going to win this game?
Bills 28, Bengals 17.
Wow.
Mainly because the Bengals also couldn't run the ball at all against the Ravens. They between the two, Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine, the ex-OU running backs.
One of them's OSU, isn't it?
No, they're both OU. They combined for like 55 yards against the Ravens, and we also talked about it earlier. The Bills showed that they could stop the run against the Dolphins. So I think that's why I give the edge to the Bills. I think Josh Allen's gonna sling it, and they're gonna do it for DeMar this time around and take care of business.
Well, I mean, to be fair, DeMar might be on the sideline next game, so.
I know, and I'm pumped for it.
All right, all right. It is good to see him doing that much better. I'm really happy for him and his family because that was a scary moment. Um, but yeah, I don't know why. I just honestly, it's probably more of a bias pick for me.
I think it is.
It-
You biased?
200
No.
yards last game.
But the two picks, though, Joe Burrow didn't throw any interceptions, did he?
He only
Yeah, never. He
had
never throws picks.
230 yards.
I don't know. I just Joe Cool, man. Joe Cool. I think he's gonna come out victorious. And I mean, so far I've only gotten one prediction wrong. So.
And then you put money line for the.
I meant San Francisco. I meant. Oh, another funny thing is I tried to bet $5 on the Jags to win on Jags money line at halftime, or a little after halftime. It was like 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. So before they'd really made a dent, and it closed. I was so pissed when they won. I mean, granted, it would have only been like $50 because it was $5. It was a $5 bet, but still, $50 I missed out on that I should have got. Stupid. But we'll move on to I want to save the Giants and Eagles for last. So we'll move on to Dallas and San Francisco. Dallas obviously winning their first playoff game for a while. Second under Dak Prescott, fourth since Troy Aikman. So they're obviously kind of in unusual territory for them, let's say. Playing a team that is down to their third string quarterback, but the rest of their team is arguably full of pro bowlers and all pros like Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, not to mention everybody on the defensive side of the ball. And Brock Purdy just looked amazing so far. To be fair, again, being on one of the better teams in the NFL outside of the quarterback position. But Dak Prescott coming off a playoff game, he did not throw an interception. Threw for 2 touchdowns, played really well. Dallas defense isn't no slouch over there either. This really could end up being a really tough contest for both teams involved in a really close game that comes down to the wire. What do you think, Aaron? Who do you think comes out on top? I have San Francisco personally.
It's a tough one. I can see the Cowboys getting on a roll, and maybe their defense gets a little pressure on Purdy for the first time.
Yeah.
I think I tend to lean with you, though. I think 49ers. I think it's going to be a close game for most of the game.
I agree.
And I think the 49ers close out late.
I think it could be very similar to that Seahawks game. Maybe it's close through the first half, and the Niners just run away with it in the second because that defense is just that good. And then Purdy really gets into a rhythm. Not to mention you have
Dak is the king of garbage yards, so
he
gotta
is.
keep that in mind.
He is. That's true. So like if they're down 32-10, then Dak's gonna go the heck off. But the problem is they're gonna be down 32-10. So I think the Niners end up beating them by double digits at the end of the game. Like you said, though, I could easily see it being close throughout the first half or 3 quarters, and then the Niners just absolutely run away with it at the end. That's my prediction. I think the Niners just run away with it towards the end of the game because that defense is just going to end up like that Dallas offense is going to stagnate against that Niners D. I think Dak Prescott's going to throw at least 1 interception, possibly 2, which sets the Niners up for short field position. And when you have players like Christian McCaffrey, when you have a running back like Christian McCaffrey on your team, and you have the line that the Niners have, I mean, you giving them the short field is basically a recipe for disaster. So I think that's why I think the Niners win. I think they force a couple turnovers that end up just absolutely helping them run away with it. But what do you think, Siege?
24-21 Niners, but not how you would expect. We're gonna have 3 missed extra extra points. We're gonna have 1 made field goal. You got that bay wind coming off the coast over there in San Francisco. Hey, 24-21, but 3 missed extra points and a made field goal for the Cowboys.
So he's able to. So I'm guessing the field goal must have been like a really short one, then, like a 20-yarder or something like that.
Oh no,
it was actually a
56-yarder.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe like a 54-yarder.
Oh, just somehow he just okay.
Well, he shanks it so bad, and the wind brings it back, and it's perfect. Yeah,
okay, I like it. Little Dr. Seuss in it. That's dope. But yeah. So we'll move on to our last game this weekend. The Eagles Giants. I've been saying for a while now that I think the Eagles are overrated. It's just recently, though, where I've kind of hopped on the Daniel Jones bandwagon, as you can see. But that will not deter me from picking the New York Giants to move on to the NFC Championship game, beat Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, a division rival, and moving on to play the San Francisco 49ers. Well, they'll lose. They'll lose in the NFC Championship game. But they'll be damn happy to make it that far, and that's all that matters. What do you think, Aaron? Who comes out with this game?
For all of you 10 people listening, in case you hadn't noticed already, Burke loves his outrageous takes, and he's a bit of a bandwagoner. So once he gets his mind set on somebody, he rides them until the wheels fall off.
And the wheels have fallen off every time.
Yep. I don't know where in his head he thinks that the Eagles are a bad team.
They are
one of the most explosive offenses in the league and a top 3 defense in the league. I think they win comfortably this game.
The Eagles are bad. I promise you, United world. I promise the world that the Eagles are not a good team. They will not. I may be wrong this round, but they will not make it to the Super Bowl. I make it my solemn vow that they will not make it to the Super Bowl this year. They're not a good team. They're extremely overhyped because they played a bunch of garbage teams this season. And I could probably pull some stats up to prove that, but I just don't feel like it right now. So go ahead.
Right, making it to the NFC Championship is a failure of a season. That means you're terrible.
The NFC is terrible this year. Name your top 3 Super Bowl contenders.
From
the
NFL. Probably Chiefs, Bills, Eagles.
You have the Eagles or the Bengals?
I do.
Wrong.
That's not wrong. Eagles win comfortably 35-17.
Thank you.
35-17? I can't wait. I can't wait for Danny Dimes to prove y'all wrong. Danny Dimes.
I can't wait for all of my score predictions to be correct.
That'd be crazy. I forgot the other 2. I forgot all 3 of them actually. But we'll have it archived. It'll be on YouTube forever and ever. So, I guess that does it for our playoff predictions. I need to take these off because I can't see anything.
Neither can Danny Dimes.
Danny, what are you talking about? The dude's a living legend. Did you see what he did this weekend? Oh my gosh.
Also seen what he did there were other times in his career.
I don't have a sports fact ready. Oh crap. So, Aaron, can you improvise for about 5 minutes?
Siege wants to talk about transfer portal stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Siege, go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna kind of quickly touch on a couple things. We have everybody leaving Jackson State, most of them following Deion Sanders to Colorado. Others are electing. A couple have gone to Georgia and Alabama, but a few are electing to go to TCU. That's interesting because Colorado and TCU match up against each other in week 1 of the 2023 football season. So that'll be kind of an interesting little game. The other big thing I wanted to talk about is there's about 12 3-stars from across the country, from schools ranging from like LSU, Miami, West Virginia, A&M, all going to Southern Methodist University in Dallas. So that is kind of an
Just the
interesting
Mustangs?
happening. Yep. And they all happened within like the last few days. Like there's, I think it. Oh my bad. 13 people left their school to go to SMU within the last 3 days. So that's very interesting.
Is there something going on down there? Like something fishy?
No, I don't
Cocaine and
think
hookers.
necessarily anything fishy. I think SMU is just getting players that they think that they can get, and it's happening. So, I mean, they're all 3-stars. Literally all of them. They're all 3-stars. So, they're finding
13
kids
3
that they
stars
think
is
they
still
can get,
pretty nice. Though.
and yeah. So that's kind of an interesting little thing that's happening in the college football world.
Yeah, because SMU hasn't been relevant since Eric Dickerson, right?
No, they've been relevant recently. They had Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes turned their program around to a winning program. They've been to bowl games like the last few years, and then he's at TCU now. So, but yeah, that's like a little interesting thing that's going on in the transfer portal. It'll be fun to see what happens in the next few weeks. But yeah.
Oh, one more thing I do want to hint on, just because I found it out this week and I think it's hilarious. But did y'all hear that the reason that the Texans went for 2 and to win that game was because Lovie Smith was told he was fired before that game, but that he was gonna finish out the season, and so he did that on purpose as a middle finger to the Texans front office. And I just found that too funny to not bring up. Yeah.
I guess that teaches their front office a lesson.
I know, right? Wait till after the year, dumbass. That was crazy when my dad told me that, and then articles started coming out about it. So that's hilarious. But I guess that'll bring us to our random sports fact of the week, and then we'll do a little outro and deuce out. But our random sports fact of the week is Larry Lewis is the oldest person to run a 100-yard dash in 17.8 seconds. He set the world record at 101 for runners over 100. So this 101-year-old man ran a 100-yard dash in less than 18 seconds. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel like I have a new goal in mind. I gotta start training now. I think I can beat that.
That's insane. Like, I hope I'm dead before that. Like, honestly.
I hope that is literally the last thing I ever do.
Is you running in 17.7 seconds.
Yep.
That was crazy. Yeah, I can't believe that. That's insane. But thank you all to who?
Thanks all.
Thanks all. Thanks all. To who? Thank you all to who?
Who may
Dang
be concerned.
it! Thanks. To who it may concern. Thank you to all that watched this episode. This has been Zach Circleberg Burkle with Swivel Chair Sports, the most unprofessional sports podcast in the world, with my co-hosts Aaron and Siege. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Make sure to like and subscribe to the video if you made it this far. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Deuces.
We're a bunch of jackasses.
We are.